Okay, we are making keto bourbon chicken, and we're gonna make it a little different. We're gonna add a little bit of orange zest to it to give it that orange chicken feel as well. But we're gonna start off with a skillet on medium high heat. Sorry for the noise, my induction oven. My induction stovetop makes a little bit of noise, but we're gonna try and do this. So medium heat, add about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then we're going to add some boneless, skinless chicken thighs that I cut up into bite-sized pieces. Going to add the boneless, skinless chicken thighs. About a quarter teaspoon of salt. And a quarter teaspoon of black pepper to this. So we just want to get it nice and brown, and then we're going to remove it and we'll build the sauce for the bourbon chicken. Okay, so the chicken is nicely brown. That was about 5 minutes on medium-high heat. You just want it nice and brown, a little bit golden there. We're gonna cook it some more later, so you don't have to overcook it too much, as long as it's browned, some golden edges. So we're going to remove it from the skillet, and then we're gonna start adding and building the marinade, which is not actually a marinade, we're just making a sauce. Normally you could marinate the chicken first, but I find doing that sometimes burns the chicken after once you cook it. So I prefer to do it this way. And the sauce, the oil here and everything is still good. We're gonna continue to build on that. All the leftover little bits in there, it's all the flavor. Okay, so we are now going to start building the base of the sauce. And first thing you need to do is make sure your pan is still hot on medium heat. We're using the same pan, and we're going to add 2 cloves of minced garlic to it. And just going to wait until it gets warmed through, and then we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. As you can see, you can pick up all those little bits at the bottom when you add the garlic and you heat it up a bit. You don't want the garlic to burn, you just want it to get warm through. So maybe even lower the heat to between low and medium. So to that now we're going to add 3/4 cups of water. A lot of this is going to reduce down, so don't worry about too much liquid. Continue to keep the heat on. We're going to go to medium now. You're going to add a 1/4 cup of bourbon, and don't worry, the alcohol in this is going to evaporate and you're just going to end up with this nice bourbon flavor. However, this is optional. If you don't want to add it, you don't have to. This is a bourbon whiskey. We're going to add 1/2 cup of chicken broth. A 1/2 cup of soy sauce or tamari sauce. Quarter cup of sugar-free ketchup. This ketchup is sweetened with stevia that I have. Most grocery stores do carry sugar-free ketchup now. However, you can probably buy it on Amazon as well if you can't find it in the grocery stores. All summer I was looking for sugar-free ketchup and I couldn't find it. All the grocery stores were either sold out or they just weren't selling it, but eventually I found it in the grocery store at the end of the summer. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar is going in next. 1/4 cup of SWERVE brown sugar. This is brown erythritol. You can also find this on Amazon. You can probably find it in some grocery stores. I do see it in my grocery stores as well. We have 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, and 1/2 teaspoon of chili pepper flakes. So we're going to let this mix through first and thicken up a little bit. So we're also going to be adding some orange zest to this and some xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is often used in place of cornstarch or as a thickener to thicken some sauces. But I still want this to evaporate a little more before I add the xanthan gum and the orange zest. Orange zest is optional. Bourbon chicken often doesn't have orange flavor, but I like the orange flavor in it. It kind of, one of my favorite Chinese Asian recipes is orange chicken. So I thought this would be good to make an orange bourbon chicken. Okay, so I've had it on medium heat for about 10 minutes. It's reduced quite a bit. So what I'm going to do is sprinkle in some xanthan gum to thicken it up a bit. And then I'm going to whisk it as soon as I add the xanthan gum. So sprinkle it on. It can clump up, so whisk it right away. So you'll notice right away it'll start to thicken a little more, and that's what you want. This is going to be a very saucy type of chicken. It's not going to be like a dry, crispy chicken. It's going to be more of a saucy bourbon chicken. So as it's thickening up, you want to add the orange zest. So I'm going to add about half an orange. I have a full orange here. I'm going to use half and zest it using a grater. So you're going to get a slight hint of orange. It's not going to be too overpowering. Again, this is optional if you don't want to use it. And the xanthan gum is optional too. If you don't want to use it, it just won't thicken the sauce as much. It'll be more of a liquidy sauce. So that is up to you. Let's get all that good orange zest into the sauce. Mix it up again. One last time before we add the chicken in here and get that all coated and be so yummy with all the flavors we've added in here. I can't wait. So this bourbon chicken is a little more on the salty side, so if you don't like a lot of salty flavors like I do, use half of the soy sauce. That's where it comes from, or maybe use a light soy sauce, or just use about 1/4 cup of the dark soy sauce, just in case you don't like it too salty. You may want to do that. Okay, we are adding in the chicken again. Try not to make too much of a splash. And so we're going to keep cooking, I would say for about 5 minutes, because we're going to let that sauce reduce a little more. And allow the chicken to sort of marinate in the warmth bath of the sauce so that it gets all the flavors. So let that simmer for about 5 minutes and then it'll be ready. So I like to serve this with some cauliflower rice, and I just take some cauliflower rice and I warm it up in a dry frying pan to remove all the moisture, and then I just add some salt and pepper to it. By removing the moisture, I use frozen cauliflower rice, and by using the frozen kind, it has a lot of moisture in it because it's frozen, it's a little icy. So I use a dry frying pan and I kind of brown it, get it a little bit crispy, add some salt and pepper, and that's it. Usually the frozen kind has a little bit of a funny taste to it until you remove the moisture in it. That's why I use it in a dry frying pan. So let's wait 5 minutes and then we'll plate it. Okay, it's all done. For some finishing touches, I'm going to add some toasted sesame seeds to it and some sliced green onions. Just a little, and then we're gonna add more to the plate as well. So we're gonna plate it. So I took the time to make some cauliflower rice, and I've put it in a square dish, and then I just flipped it over to make it look pretty. I'm usually not that fancy, but I thought let's make it look a little pretty today. So give it a good little mix. Sometimes the skin will start forming on the top, so it needs to be mixed. So plate it nicely here, whether you want a lot of sauce or a little sauce. I'm gonna use just a little sauce. Doesn't that look amazing? There you go. Add some more green onions on top. Sesame seeds. And that's your Keto Bourbon Chicken with a little orange zest.